I will go right out and say it. I like Warsaw a lot. Like an acquired taste, the city grows on you over time. And even though we could have potentially lived anywhere in Poland, we don't feel for a moment that we could have done better by picking any other city. And really, what's not to like? The public transportation is the best I've ever experienced in the city. The fact that you have a gorgeous old town mixed with the super modern developments, the legendary parks, and the views of the iconic Vistula River. What about a mega market, steps from my place in the center and not outside the city limits, as is the usual case in most American and Eastern European cities? And did I also mention that they have Amazon lockers literally on every corner? That's not a luxury even a New Yorker can brag about. For instance, here's my package right here. Look at this. What do we have over there? I've been waiting for this for a long time. But there is another huge advantage to Warsaw that I've never talked about. One that's not easy to see and yet could be taken for granted by just about everyone, including yourself. Now, all of these things is why I like Warsaw. Each one of them adds something to my life in its own way. But there is something else that's even bigger than that. And in order to tell you, I have to show you something. So right now I'm in the center. It's past 6 p.m. right now. And this is a fairly busy area. There's office buildings all around me. There are people coming, going home from work, stuff like that. Here's a metro here. And every now and then, you would see people walking from there, across the street, into the metro station right there. Now let me ask you something. Do you see something strange with that? Do you see something out of place? It's 6 p.m. on a Wednesday. It's not a Sunday. It's not a Saturday. It's not Friday night. Now you see, if you were in New York right now on this day, you would see lots and lots of people wherever you go. If you take the subway there, the metro, you would be like a sardine over there, okay? You would be standing like a sardine. It would be a very, very tough journey. If you were in LA at this time, on this day, you won't be able to drive anywhere. You would be stuck in stop-and-go traffic for a while. It would be like a nightmare. If you were in Miami, there would be lots of people as well. Pretty much anywhere, in all kinds of big cities, it would just be packed right now, right? Because how is it possible, right? I'm in a big city and it feels like, like a weekend or something. But this isn't just about the US, right? Kiev is the same, very overpopulated, lots and lots of people. Around this time, on the major streets, on the streets leading to the metro, you're gonna have, there's gonna be tons of people. You're gonna take the metro and you're gonna be standing like a sardine with other people around you. It's gonna be a true rush hour experience. But if there's one thing I realized here in Warsaw, and believe me, it wasn't something that I realized immediately. It's not something tangible. It's not something that you can feel, you can quantify. It's the fact that for a big city, I have room here. Like, I have room to breathe. I can walk on the street. I don't have to, properly guide myself where I can walk, where I cannot, as is the case in New York City and many other cities. This is a city where no matter the time of the day, no matter the day of the week, I feel like, I have space to breathe. I have room to maneuver. And this is all the time. I remember I was in Saskakempa. It was like 5:30 p.m. on like a Thursday or a Tuesday. And I'm going to Ochota, right? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm on the tram. I'm gonna pass the center right now. Oh man, it's gonna be a nightmare. It's gonna be lots and lots of people. I passed the center. Barely anybody got on. It was like a couple of people got on. It wasn't an empty tram. So I'm here in the center, and this is what the train looks like at 6:17 p.m. in the middle of rush hour. But it wasn't full to any extent. It wasn't full by any count. And I'm like, how is this possible? And then I started to pay more and more attention to this. I actually talked to Marina about this as well. And that is something she noticed too, is that Warsaw, unlike many other cities, is not overpopulated, okay? It's not a city where you have to, every single time you get out, you go to work or you go to a park or you want to do something, doesn't matter if it's a weekday or a weekend, you have to battle with others for the resources, for your part of the sidewalk, for your part of the street, for your part of this, as is the case in New York City. Marina went to New York and she was like overwhelmed, and I was overwhelmed, I grew up in New York, but I haven't been there, and I was overwhelmed. Anywhere you go, it's just crowds and crowds of people. You cross, you turn the corner, lots and lots of people. You make a left, lots and lots of people. This is completely not the case here. I mean, check this out. Check this out. This is a little bit past 6 on a weekday. We're right in the center. There's your favorite building over there. And yeah, there's some people about, waiting for their tram over there, about to get on the tram. There's some people going home right now. But this is nothing like any of these other big cities that you may be familiar with. Here I am walking pretty much in the center. It is 6:20 p.m. and it's just like any other day. It doesn't feel like it should be rush hour at all. This is a business district right here on a Wednesday evening after work. And as you can see, it's not crowded. Everybody has space. Everybody's got room. Here's a tram station in this business area here that's going north to more residential neighborhoods. As you can see, there's not a lot of people at all. Here's my tram going away from the business district. You'd never see something like that in New York. This feeling is universal in the city. It's not only in the center. It's not only right now, on a weekday, on a work day. It's all the time. I leave my house in the center. I walk on the street. I feel like I have the street to myself. And I'm like, how is this possible? I go to a shopping center, lots of people in the shopping center. Not packed, but lots of people. I leave the shopping center, I got the street to myself again. I go to a neighborhood that's a little bit away from the center, same thing. I go back to the center, same thing. As you can see right here, what's happening. We're right in the center, but you can breathe here. You feel like a human here. Now, I honestly don't know why that is. I mean, I have some theories. Maybe it's because of the self-contained neighborhoods where people that live not in the center, in places like Ochota or other neighborhoods away from the center, they don't really see the need of going to the center. Maybe they live and work there, okay, which is a big benefit. That's a big plus, right? That's a huge thing because people don't need to come to the center, overpopulated temporarily and then go back. That's a great thing. Or maybe it's because people are working from home more often. I don't really know the true reasons, but I can tell you one thing for sure is that unlike many other cities where I've been, and I've been in tons, like I'm a big city guy, that's all I do. I travel and live in big cities. I can tell you that Warsaw is definitely not overpopulated. New York City, it's just tons and tons of people, okay? LA, right? It's a nightmare to do anything. There's always traffic, always traffic anywhere you go. But even a city like Kiev is overpopulated, okay? It was overpopulated before the events because a lot of people moved from different parts of the country, because at the end of the day, Kiev is really the place where the money is made. It's really the only option in the country. And as a result, lots of people migrated there. And now I can honestly say that when I was there, it was completely overpopulated. At times it felt like being in New York. There was some streets where you can just walk and you would have this tons and tons of people. Nothing like what you're seeing in front of me, and we're right in the center. Now you may be wondering, well, why is this important? Sure, it's nice that, there's less people, it's comfortable. Maybe somebody likes crowds. Maybe somebody likes when there's like an avalanche of people coming their way. So there's that. But I honestly not a big fan of that. this is one of the things I really enjoy about Warsaw, is the fact that I have my own street, so to speak, figuratively speaking, and I have room to breathe. This is huge. But there's a bigger issue with all of this, is that what is the point of living in a state-of-the-art city, in a big city, if you are just a number that has to compete with everybody else, with all the other millions of people, for the resources and everything in the city? Even if it's like New York, with all its greatness, or Paris or Madrid, which are always very popular. There's always lots of people everywhere you go. Even if they're great cities and they're awesome, the fact that you're competing with other people, the fact that you're competing for resources with others, kind of negates all of that benefits, right? We talked about how, what makes a city great: infrastructure, the resources, the fact that there's, public spaces, restaurants, great public transportation, stuff like that. But all of that is a variable, right? Because the more people you have, the more you're competing for those limited resources. The less people you have, the more you can, so to speak, have those resources for yourself. And everything that I talked about before, that, the things that I liked about Warsaw, are amplified with the fact that I can breathe here as a human being, right? I know that, I can take a metro, or I can take a tram. Even the metro is like, it's amazing, right? The metro here is simply amazing, but I can take the tram, I can take the bus, and it never feels like I'm standing like a sardine. It never feels like I'm on a canned sardine, that's, standing next to, 50 other people that are like squeezing me and making it hard for me to exit, or making it hard for me to do anything, to read a book, to do this, to do that, as is the case in many of these other cities. I mean, after all, what is the point of all the resources, of everything that the city has at its disposal, of everything that has been created in the city for the residents and the tourists and other people to enjoy, if it's overcrowded, if there are more people than it needs to be, if you have to wait for second, third, fourth, fifth bus to go home, if you're going home during rush hour and there's a line to the bus, as is the case in Kiev, as is the case in New York, as is the case in many other cities. What is the point? What is the point of all the benefits of everything that the city has to give you if you can't enjoy it, right? It kind of negates everything, and that is one of the biggest reasons I really like Warsaw, because Warsaw is one of the first cities that I can remember in a long time, one of the first kind of big cities, right? Capital cities, that I feel I have room to breathe. And I honestly do not remember I had this feeling before. And for me, that's more important than anything else, really. And incidentally, look where you are right now. Frequent visitors to the channel would recognize this place as my own little oasis in Warsaw. And that's exactly what it is, my own little oasis in Warsaw. And I always like to come here to think, to reflect, to decompress. And what can I say? It's as beautiful as ever.